and the car just going side and side. I felt like I was in a roller coaster. So I guess like we could actually start from my childhood, because when I was a kid, the first major like car I got before the Mustang, I guess I could consider my first car. This was like when I was about maybe 1 or 2 years old. My dad didn't really have a huge salary at the time, but he had taken like this. I would say it's a good risk. He bought me these little, like these. They have like nowadays they have the Lamborghini like kid toys, right, where you get to sit and drive in. Back then it was like a little Jeep. It's we still have it somewhere with one of our friends back home, but like that was our first. That was my first like introduction to cars. I'm definitely gonna say like there are a lot of good people in the car community, and then there's also a lot of, I'm not gonna say bad, because at the end of the day, you can't really judge people, but there are some people who are just not as nice as you would want to hang out with them, kind of not bad. But for what I've seen, like the main thing is in the car club, a lot of people who love cars, they would love to talk to you, even if you drive like a V6 Mustang and they're driving a Bugatti. Sometimes, well, I have only met one Bugatti owner who's very down to earth. The others are kind of 50-50, but other than that, most of the other supercar owners, they're more than happy to talk to you, because if they're a real car enthusiast, they don't care what you drive. They love to talk about their cars. If they're like, they would just say, if you ask them, oh, what engine is this? Like, I don't know what a Porsche has. They'll be like, oh, it's an inline six, and they'll give you the whole rundown if they're a real car enthusiast. If not, they'll just blow you off like, oh, it's a Porsche. I don't know. I just bought it. It's expensive. Like, there's some people like that. It's sad to say, but. And like aside from that, there's the only bad side of people I've seen is like people who, when they get upgrades to their cars, like not modifications, just like if they go from a, let's say a Mustang to maybe a supercar, their ego kind of inflates with it as well. But I've only seen that like a very handful of times. So other than that, everybody I know is very humble. They love cars, love talking about it. They even give me a lot of rides. Like I've had offers to drive a lot of their cars. Those kind of owners are the owners that like they're the ones who show, they teach people who are interested in cars, and that's another thing I really enjoy. So obviously my car is just nothing special. Mustangs, you see them everywhere, right? But like obviously if I go to events, or if I go to any place like where a kid approaches me, or anybody who loves Mustangs comes and says, oh, that's your car. Like recently, in January we had gone to a Sri Lankan event where there was like a couple of people, and we bought, obviously I took the Mustang, I was driving it and stuff. I was with my mom that day. So there was this one kid, he had come like after he had seen the car, he was like, you drive a Mustang? And obviously my mom, she thinks I was showing off, but the reality is I'm not. I'm just showing the kid the car, because I know when I was at his age, if I had the guts to talk to a supercar owner back then, I would love to have a ride in the car. I would love to see it. Like I only got to speak to a couple supercar owners when I was a kid, thanks to my mom, because she had spoken to him. It's like, oh, my son loves the Lamborghini Gallardo. Would you be okay with letting him sit in it? And back in Dubai Mall, I was probably maybe, I don't know, 12, 13. I sat in it, had an orgasm, not gonna lie. But, so this kid, obviously, I just told him, hey, if you want, hop in, I'll give you a quick ride. So, floored it. It's a V6, yes, but I made a lot of noise, so pissed off the security guards. It's alright, it was worth it. So, the kids loved it. So, obviously, I respect people like that. People who want to encourage people to get into cars more. Not be a jerk to them and then think, oh, because obviously the worst thing you could do is give an image to a person saying, a bad rep about the car community. You could be like acting like an absolute jerk, and he's gonna assume that everybody in the car community is like mean. They're not gonna get into the car community then. They don't see the good light of it. They don't go to events. They think everyone there is just stuck up with their cars, but that's not the case. So that's why I respect a lot of owners who actually share their cars and share their experiences with everyone. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people who love JDM. I respect. Everyone has their own taste in things, right? Like, not everybody likes chocolate ice cream. Some people like caramel, some people like vanilla, whatever. So my bread and butter is personally exotics. I just love their looks. I love the companies. I love their brand. I love their racing heritage a lot. And like, just even though they're hell to maintain, I just see that like, there's nothing wrong with obviously getting a muscle car or anything. I'm driving a pony car right now, so like can't really comment too much. If I had like a Lamborghini, obviously I'd love to give people rides. I would even ask people on the streets like, hey, do you like my car? Oh, would you like to have a ride in? It would be very creepy, obviously. They'd be like, who the hell is this random guy in a Lamborghini asking for a ride? But you get my point. So obviously German cars, yes, they're very reliable. They're also very nice and they sound amazing. Like one of the best like German cars in my opinion I've heard to this day is owned by Kiko. I'm pretty sure you know Kiko, right? He has this beautiful, I believe it's an S3. He's got a sick golden wrap on it. The exhaust is marvelous. It pops like popcorn. Love it. German cars, they have their own like field where they just look reliable and are sexy. JDM cars, they're all about like speed. They're like, adrenaline freaks. They love the speed. They love, spitting out flames and everything. So I love flame shows. Don't get me wrong. Aventadors, and exotic side of things, yeah, a lot of cars spit flames. But JDMs, they like, those are dragons. Those are not cars. But like, a lot of people enjoy them, and I feel like tuners, people who like to work on their own cars, love JDM cars. I sadly don't know how to even hold a wrench properly, so I don't think I'd be able to work on a JDM car, sadly. Even though I would like to think that I'm, Vin Diesel by acting like, like the buff guy, and I got a sick Challenger right behind me with some cool chick in a bikini, but no, I don't. I can't even work on the car myself. Again, tuners are more the muscle cars than like JDM cars. I just can't work on them, but I love muscle cars. I really want to learn a lot more about them. So muscle and exotic are my bread and butter, personally. It actually happened very recently with the Mustang. We live in a building complex in JVC. So, and over there, I'll admit, like I said, I kind of enjoy attention, but not so much to the point where I like to be a douche about it. But and the car is very loud. It's a V6, but it's one of the loudest cars we have in our area. So I always drive, I accelerate. I love hearing the exhaust. So recently there was some lady, I guess she just came out of quarantine and she's jobless. She has nothing better to do. So she actually had her baby. And I remember even passing this lady. I gave her a way to pass the road, even though she was crossing the service road, which is not correct. But she was just, so I just waited there and I passed her. I'm guessing I just accelerated a little bit, just a little bit of acceleration just to get to near the roundabout. It must have made a big noise. Maybe the kid started crying or something. She had complained twice to the security saying, oh, this guy in a red Mustang, and everybody in our building knows who's the red Mustang. It's either me, my mom, or my dad driving it. So they said they got 2 complaints about me driving aggressively. And so the security guards, luckily they're very nice because they all know me and I talk to them a lot. I'm a very talkative person. So they just went and told my dad, they're like, hey, listen, we got to complain about one of you guys driving your car like a maniac. It seems that you guys are going very fast in a service road. So my dad instantly said, yeah, it's got to be my son. Because my dad and my mom, they're very casual drivers. They do not drive nuts. But for me, on the other hand, I got to admit, I'm young, I'm stupid, I know I like driving with that. But so they had luckily told my dad, and they luckily understood. They didn't give us any warnings or anything. But it kind of ruined my mood because I was like, now I don't even floor it. Like, we have a straightaway in our area where usually we have like Lamborghini Evos and stuff. Like in JVC, a lot of new supercars are coming in. I don't know how, but all these guys, and the new JVC Palm 5 is there as well. So you see 720Ss and stuff there as well a lot. But anyways, so obviously on the straightaway, which is at least maybe, I'd say 200 meters, maybe less, you could just floor it and go up to about 100 at least, and then, make a good exhaust note. Even there now, I just don't do it because I'm afraid that those guys are going to complain against me again. So that's probably another wild moment. My friend Jay, he had let me rev his Aventador. So Aventador is obviously when the engine's hot enough, it spits like flames sometimes, and it has a Caprice exhaust system, so it sounds marvelous. But the flames are maybe about that big. I don't know how that is, maybe 2-3 feet, I don't know, something like that. So obviously I didn't realize that one of my friends was too close to the exhaust note, so I kept revving it, and then like I just heard someone scream at the back. I stopped, I looked back, and it seems I caught one of my friend's pants had actually got like a mark, like a dark mark, because he actually got too close to the exhaust note system. So I was like, okay, I almost burned someone. That's not good. But luckily, he was not going to sue me or anything. So that's good. That's all right, I guess. I have actually been in a lot of modified cars. So the most craziest modification car I've been in is probably the GTR R35. One of our friends, he has an Aventador as well, but he sent that to the UK, I believe, and now the GTR, he sold it a while back. But it was a 1,800 brake horsepower GTR, matte black finish. Literally, the second he does one downshift, you see like an entire factory of smoke just going out the exhaust. It's insane. But he just and like I just remember the amount of like G-force that was coming on my face. I felt like my face was just gonna be backwards like that. Just every time he floored it, it was insane. But that was one of the craziest cars. Along with also like I've been in one of my friends, like, so this is back in uni. He has this really souped up Supra there. So obviously I don't know how much brake horsepower it makes, but I know that it's like the older Supra, similar to Amin's one. And the thing is, there's a lot of ice in that area. So I don't know why in the world he did that still to this day, but this guy, he knew there was thin ice there. He knew I was in the car. You know what he does? Downshifts about a few times and then starts flooring it on the ice. All I remember is just holding the damn handles and the car just going side and side like that. I felt like I was in a roller coaster. I still don't know how to this day the car hasn't spun out like that, but it was just going back and forth. Like the tail was like nuts. It was like a fish out of water.